In the shadow of a shared colonial past, two young nations stood divided by ideology, by geography, and by the bitter memory of partition. In 1965, India and Pakistan clashed once more, not over ideals, but over territory, specifically the contested region of Jammu and Kashmir. What followed was one of the largest tank battles since World War II, a war of strategy, ambition, and miscalculation. This is the story of the Indo-Pakistani War of 1965. After the bloody partition of British India in 1947, Pakistan and India emerged as two sovereign states. But from the start, the status of Kashmir was left unresolved. Despite being a Muslim-majority state, Kashmir's Hindu ruler chose to accede to India, igniting the First Indo-Pakistani War in 1947. A UN-mediated ceasefire left Kashmir divided. The line of control gave India control of 2/3, with Pakistan holding the rest. But peace was fragile. Both sides claimed the region in full, and over the next 2 decades, distrust festered. By the early 1960s, India had suffered a humiliating defeat against China in the 1962 Sino-Indian War. Its military confidence was shaken. Pakistan saw this as an opportunity. In August 1965, Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar, named after the Muslim conquest of Spain. The plan was bold. Send thousands of infiltrators into Indian-administered Kashmir to incite rebellion among the Muslim population and destabilize Indian control. But the operation backfired. The local population did not rise in revolt, and Indian forces quickly detected the infiltrators. India responded by launching a major military offensive on August 15th, pushing Pakistani troops out of Kashmir. But this was just the beginning. By September 1st, the war escalated. Pakistan launched Operation Grand Slam, aiming to capture the strategic town of Aknur in Jammu, which would cut off Indian supply lines to Kashmir. Initially successful, the offensive lost momentum due to command changes and logistical delays. In retaliation, India crossed the international border on September 6th, attacking the city of Lahore. This surprised Pakistan, who believed India wouldn't risk an all-out war. But now, both countries were fully committed. The Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 had truly begun. One of the largest tank battles since World War II took place near the village of Asal Uttar in Punjab. Over 400 Pakistani tanks, many of them US-made patterns, rolled toward Indian lines. But Indian forces, under Major General Harbaksh Singh, used flooded sugarcane fields to trap and destroy the advancing tanks. By the end of the battle, more than 100 Pakistani tanks were destroyed or abandoned. The area would later be nicknamed Patton Nagar, Patton City. The war also raged in the skies. Both air forces engaged in intense dogfights. Pakistan's Air Force, equipped with American-made Sabres and starfighters, initially claimed air superiority, but the Indian Air Force responded forcefully, striking targets across the border. At sea, the war was limited. The Indian Navy launched operations to blockade Karachi, but both nations kept their navies mostly restrained. As casualties mounted, estimates range from 6,000 to over 10,000. The world took notice. Both the United States and the Soviet Union, despite their Cold War rivalry, pressured the nations to stop fighting. On September 22nd, the United Nations brokered a ceasefire. Both sides accepted. The front lines froze largely where they had started. The war had ended in a stalemate. In January 1966, Indian Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri and Pakistani President Ayub Khan met in Tashkent, in the Soviet Union, to sign the Tashkent Agreement. It called for the withdrawal of troops to pre-war positions and restoration of diplomatic relations. But not everyone was satisfied. In India, Shastri's sudden death in Tashkent cast a shadow over the peace talks. In Pakistan, disappointment grew, especially in the military, which had promised victory but delivered a draw. The war changed little on the map, but it reshaped both nations' militaries, hardened public opinions, and set the stage for future conflicts. The Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 was a war without winners, but its legacy lives on in border tensions, in national narratives, and in the hearts of those who lived through it. It was a war born of history, and one that, in many ways, never truly ended. Subscribe, tune Trends for more videos like this.